Today we're going to analyze what makes Tom Welling so attractive. So for his front, he got a 8.23 out of 10, which is a top 0.02% face. I didn't do his side profile because I couldn't find a good picture of him, so the score was really off and inaccurate. So today we're just going to do his front. And his overall score for his harmony, 8.23, is actually dead accurate to his overall rating when we include things like his features, his angularity, and his dimorphism. So I'll probably give him a 8.25, which is the best looking out of, I think, 500,000 people. But anyways, we can get into his front ratios. So his biggest flaw in his front ratio was his one eye apart test. And this is because his PFL, and he has, because of his PFL mainly. So he got a 3 out of 10 on this score, and that's all the way outside of ideal. We would want it in the middle of blue. Yet, overly small eyes, his PFL is a little low. So ideally, it should be in the 0.95 range when it's 1.12. His second biggest flaw was his ear protrusion angle. We can visually see that he has flared ears. It's pretty big, right? And his third ratio that he got the biggest deduction on was his ESR, eye separation ratio. Again, this is mainly because of his PFL making his eyes look close set. So his value is 44% when it should be in the 46.25 range. We can see it on the chart here, on the bell curve. Ideally, it should be in the 46% range. His fourth biggest flaw was his total FWHR. It's because his face is overly too compact, meaning it's too wide relative to his face length. His next biggest flaw was his deviation of lips lateral angle and jaw frontal angle. And this is because his jaw frontal angle is too obtuse compared to his lips lateral angle. So we can see that this slightly gives off disharmonious mid-face and jaw alignment. But this is a minor flaw, I'll say. His value was a 4.9 when it should be 1.25 in the ideal. Yeah, it's like barely right outside of blue when it should be like in the middle over there. So his next biggest flaw, I'll say this is like a minor flaw. He has medium low set eyebrows. Ideally, it should be like pretty much touching his upper eyelid. And starting from his cheekbone height, he basically gets everything perfect. His cheekbone height is medium high. We can see that the most laterally prominent part is over here of the cheekbones when it should be ideally like probably here, I'll say. This is his facial thirds. We can see that his forehead is bigger than his mid-face, which is not ideal. We would want the lower third to be the biggest, and then the mid-face, and then the forehead. So he got a slight deduction on that. It's just outside of ideal. And his next biggest flaw was his chin to philtrum ratio. His chin is vertically too big. His philtrum is fine. It's just that his chin is a bit too long. Eyebrow tilt, I'll say this is neutrally tilted. We would want the eyebrows to be slightly more positively tilted, giving more of a striking look. But this is not a big deal. Ear protrusion ratio, another ratio to show if your ears are flared or not. Neck width, it's 89.7%, which is very close to the ideal. Ideally for men, we would want your neck width to be 90 to 100%. Yes, it's right outside of ideal. This one shows that his mouth is pretty much perfect width. Middle third, lower third, bigonial width. His jaw is wide relative to his cheekbone width. So this is perfect. Perfect. Mouth to nose ratio, this is perfect. His mouth is 1.4 times his nose, which is perfect. Yep. FWHR, this is perfect. He has a compact face. Mid-face ratio, perfect. Lateral canthal tilt, perfect. This is like almost outside of ideal. In an ideal perfect world, we would want the canthal tilt to be about 7. We can see it here. Yeah, like 6.7, around that range. Jaw frontal angle was perfect. Lips lateral angle, good. Lower lip to upper lip ratio, good. His lower lip is 1.52 times fuller than his upper lip. Eye aspect ratio perfect, so his eyes aren't too round or too compact. It gives up a good balance between youthfulness and strikingness. Eye width to height aspect ratio, this is good. Bitemporal width, good. His temples aren't too wide or too narrow. This ratio shows how wide your nose is relative to your medial canthus. This is perfect. Mouth corner position, this is perfect. Nose tip position, this is perfect. So onto his top 3 biggest strengths. He has an ideal jaw width, ideal forehead width. His temples aren't too narrow or too wide. And he has an ideal nose width. So his nose is not too wide or not too narrow. And onto his top 3 areas of improvement. His PFL, we talked about it, this gives up a closed set eyes appearance. And this is like a slight flaw. According to Face IQ Labs, his face is too compact, meaning that, again, his face is too wide relative to the total length of his face. That's it for the facial analysis of Tom Welling, guys. If you guys want the exact same facial analysis that I did for Tom Welling here, if you want to know how attractive you are, you guys can press down my link down below in the description or pinned comments, and you guys can get all your 30 ratios for your front, just like Tom Welling here. And I didn't attach a side profile here, but you guys can get all your 29 ratios that determine how attractive you are in terms of your side profile proportions, including your top 3 strengths and your top 3 areas of improvement. Face IQ Labs, I believe it's best software on the market right now to know your facial aesthetics and know how attractive you are.